I'm thinking I miss my Tommy. You're making me miss him. I miss my boys too. I love my Sean and Michael, but I miss my Tommy.
Yeah.
So I went first. What are you thinking, Chris? Nothing, huh? You ain't got nothing?
No, you shut me up on missing Tommy, so it doesn't matter. There's nothing for me to think now.
He was really cute.
Welcome to the Midlife Mafia podcast. My name is Kristy. Parenting in midlife, learning as we go.
And I'm Marietta. I childproofed the house, but they still got in.
I'm Elle, and I have a plaque above my front door that says, "Let your life speak." And I try to remember that as I leave my house every single day. The Midlife Mafia podcast is a podcast geared towards women over 40. We are going to make you feel good about yourself. We're going to make you feel enlightened and hopeful and confident about the woman you are and the woman that you're going to be. We are three very different women, very different. And we're going to talk about all kinds of things like healthcare and families and career and maybe some things that mom forgot to tell you about. Even sex. Yeah, those will be the fun things that hopefully we have special guests for. Midlife is a time of reflection. It's a time of change. Most importantly, though, it's a time of growth where you can look to your past experiences to help you guide in your future because you have those experiences and you can use them to make it better. At least that's what we hope. And today we're going to be talking about parenting, which is something that is a fortunate thing. Well, I would like to think a fortunate thing. And everybody,
it's an expensive thing.
Every time we talk about anything else, the three of us in a group, even when we're just having a conversation, it always ends up with us talking about parenting anyway. So we thought, you know what, let's talk about parenting because obviously it's very close to us, as it is to most people. And if you don't have kids, you probably have a relationship with, nieces or nephews and stuff like that. You feel some kind of like vibe towards them. But it's one of those things that does change as time.
Or you just hate them.
Goes. Yeah, I was like that. I was like that for a long time. I was like, kids. But the days are very long. But the years fly by, and it's really hard to believe. So let's talk about our own personal stories. Like Marietta, when did you become, because we're three very different women. So we all have very different stories about this. So when did you become a parent?
Oh, when I was 15. Proud mommy moment for me. Yeah. I was young. I was very young.
I love that story actually about how you found out you were pregnant.
Not really a fan of the story, but that's my life. So. I was 15 when I had my Tommy, and he grew up with me. And honestly, I waited 11 years. I got married and had Sean and Michael. And they're all growing up, and they're all leaving my home. And I'm very sad.
Let's talk in the early days. Not all 15-year-olds are ready to be able to even relate.
Ready.
But they can't even comprehend it. Like, you know what I mean?
I been ready.
It's like
I was shocked. I was shocked. I was not ready.
I bet more than can't do it. You know what I mean? There are a lot of babies that probably go up for adoption because their parents are just too young. But
their parents raised them.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't even tell them. They're like, "Yeah, that's my younger sister." It's like, no, that's actually your mom. Haven't you heard those stories?
Yeah, well,
yeah.
On Law and Order, actually.
But you were like, I'm going with this. This is my baby.
I had no choice.
How old were you when you had Sean?
That's the second one?
Yeah, so I was 15, 11 years later. What was I, 26 when I had Sean, and then 27, 28 when I had Michael.
So you were done by 30.
Oh, I was fucking done. I tied, burned, I was done. No more children. That's it. 3 was enough for me. I wasn't blessed with my girl, but I couldn't afford them anyway. So boys I thought were cheaper until my
God.
Until Sean learned what StockX and Goat were. And then I just can't afford Sean anymore. Now Michael's involved.
Boys are much more simple.
They're not. Sean is not simple by all means. Sean is
high maintenance.
Pain in the ass, high maintenance. He will only wear Nike Tech fleece suits if they're retro. He don't like a zipper, so I have to spend extra money because he don't like a fucking zipper. I'm gonna glue the zippers on for him. It's ridiculous. But yeah, Michael's easy. Michael's like H&M. He's good. Sean is head to toe. He needs Gucci. He needs MKC belts. He needs.
So what did you think? Going back to when you were young with your first son, like what were you thinking? You bring this baby home. I mean, did you just basically go, here, Mom?
Cute.
I mean, did your mom really pretty much do everything? Because you had no idea?
My sister actually helped me more. My mom was actually very sick with ovarian cancer. And I always believed that things happen for a reason. My mother had to see my son before she left this world. And that's why I believe, well, I was a little tramp. That's why I got pregnant. But I blame my mother. I blame my mother.
That's the lack of birth control.
I blame my mother. But
don't we always get the bad rap for everything?
Wow.
Yeah, she was walking around half naked with no birth control, but it's her mom's fault.
I didn't even know about birth control. My mother should have told me about it. But I digress. So, yeah, so I'm going to say about a year and a half with and she used to dress my son and my nephew Bobby like little sailor hats and stuff. And it used to be so cute. I have all their pictures, and her and the neighbor, she died too. Her and the neighbor,
the story just gets better and better.
It was bad. That's another funny story, another episode.
It is?
Yeah. So my brother gave her CPR.
So that's funny.
Well, my brother's a little scared of everything. So him doing that, yeah, you got to know my brother to understand the story.
Which none of us do. Anyway.
We're all scared of our own shadows, my whole family. My whole family. Still to this day, I'm afraid to go in my sister's basement.
Yeah, you are not afraid to, like, do the
sex.
Yeah, at 15.
I probably didn't even know I was doing anything. But anyway, so she helped me raise my son.
So what were the circumstances surrounding number two? Like, was that something like you were in a different relationship and you were like, let's do this?
I wasn't married then either. None of my children were legitimate kids. Well, legitimate.
They're legitimate.
I was actually pregnant with Michael on my wedding day. Didn't know that either, but okay. Anyway, I digress.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have easy pregnancies. You don't even know.
I'm the fucking biggest fertilist bastard you'll ever meet. I am.
You were born to breed.
I was. And that's why I burned, tied, and burned again. Triple burn. When I told my doctor, he was like, are you sure you want to sign it? Send me the papers. I'm signing now. I'm signing. There is no more.
So you were getting married. So you had,
Yeah.
And you were not. You had the conversation of, are we going to have kids kind of thing? You were marrying this man.
Plan the pregnancy.
I didn't plan the pregnancies, no.
But
I had Sean, and then I got married in 2006. I had Sean in 2005. We got married in 2006. And then I was pregnant with Michael, and I had Michael in 2007.
Oh, you got married with the third one.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I missed one
can you just put me more in the fucking dirt?
She missed that.
I missed it.
Yes. No. No, but me and my husband with each other, my Tommy was a year old.
Right.
I've known Eric for 32 years.
Usually one of the things you talk about before you marry someone is like, do you want kids? That's
we're young. We don't talk about that. We just knew we were going to have kids. So that's all that mattered. Just build up.
You definitely didn't talk about it.
No. Well, you actually sat down with Danny and said, oh, do you think you want to have kids with me? No, you just do it. It just fucking happens.
No.
I actually don't know if you would get married if you didn't want to have kids.
We had a whole conversation about it that lasted for like a week, me and my husband.
I'm sorry. We both knew I wanted to have more, and he wanted kids. He never had a kid. So we knew that from the get. Like, we would just like make little jokes about it. If he would have said to me, I'm never having kids, he would never have been a candidate.
So you did have that understanding.
Yeah, but not like, okay, people plan their children like I want to have now. We never planned our kids. We knew we wanted to have them, and we did.
Right.
And that was it.
Right. Because I did one of the things that actually made me afraid to get married was because I didn't want to be a baby factory. And I figured, what's the point of getting married if you're not going to have
baby
kids?
Factory.
Well,
you're going to always have them?
Yeah, well, I thought like, what? Why
are you going to be barefoot and pregnant?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. No, I did. I was like, I had a career that I wanted to keep. And I was like, what is the point of getting married and like screwing up my life, which is going just fine the way it is with you as my boyfriend? Why do we need to get married? The only reason I could
Health
think of
benefits.
to get married. I had them from my job.
She worked.
Plus, you can do a domestic partnership. You don't even need to do that anymore.
I don't trust any domestic partnerships.
So I was like, I was good. You know, I was very good. And I thought that's what the skeptical part of marriage for me was, why get married? Just so I can, turn into a, baby. That's what I thought.
Housewife?
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah. And that's why I didn't want to get married. You say that like it's a bad thing,
Actually,
I'm a housewife now too. I work, but I'm a housewife. Well, I'm a house mom.
I don't know if
I'm not
I
a
was
wife
ever
anymore.
So I don't know if I was ever a housewife compared to the terms that you use for like the outdated terms like from the 50s and stuff like that. When I never did any of that stuff. But
Were you home taking care of your children?
Yes.
You were a housewife.
But we were not home. We did everything. Like we went out. We went to the circus like 5 times a week. I didn't cook. We ate cotton candy. We won fish at the carnival. We were
cotton candy.
Yeah, we were
She was a fun mom.
We were like living life. You know what I mean? I took them camping. Like we did all kinds of stuff because my husband went out of town a lot. So, we were not at home. Like I was not cleaning and they were not watching TV. That's not unless I was really tired. Then they were watching TV and I was like, F you, I can't do it anymore. But yeah. So that was one of the things that I was hesitant about because I didn't know how it would change me as a person to be a mom. What about you?
I wanted kids.
Yeah.
I think I had them at the perfect time. I had my first one at 30.
You had a conversation though, right? You were both like, you know what? We want kids.
No.
God,
I don't think so.
I'm the only one that actually sat down and we talked about it.
I wouldn't have gotten married if I wasn't going to have kids. I don't see the point.
Neither did I.
To have a family.
But some people say to their other person, just so you know, I don't want to have kids. Some people say that.
I would have left them.
Don't you watch reality TV?
I would have left.
No,
it's one of those things you're supposed to discuss before you get married.
My plans.
Right, but they have to be in both of your plans if you're going to marry them.
I had one at 30 and with a lot of different things happened that, bad pregnancy. And then when I became a mother 7 years later, was a surprise.
Was the first one planned? No, I'm not saying planned to the date, yes. But you were not
I came off birth control.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Came off birth control to have.
That's what we said. We'll just take our chances and see what happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it happened right away. But I wanted to have kids.
So then it happened, and then you were like, "How did you feel about that?"
Crazy. Wow. Insane. Very hard. Difficult. But it's having kids changed a lot. Changed a lot of the way I thought. Made me more neurotic and you know how it is.
I can't imagine you not being neurotic. So I don't know.
He just fell. Oh my God. He cried before I cried before he cried.
Yeah, that's good.
But he was a good boy, though, too. So it was easy raising Michael.
Mm-hmm. And then you waited, and then the next one was planned also?
No. I wasn't. Angela was a surprise. You have no idea. I was like,
wait, no. Marietta's was a surprise. You have no idea.
It was such a shock. Right. We weren't planning. I got sick with Michael, so they told me it wasn't a good idea.
So your health was affected adversely with your first pregnancy.
Angela wound up being the best pregnancy, no problems. But when I found out, I said, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh, God.
Well, again, you were you taking birth control?
No, after Michael, I never did. No. It wasn't healthy for you to take it. I was on it for so many years. There was no reason to. But when I called my mother to tell her, I was like pretty much going, you got to be. I was driving on the BQE when I was telling her, and I was screaming. I can't believe this is not possible. But it was the best thing that ever happened.
He's so cute, Angelo.
No.
But were you upset about it, or were you like, not to say, of course we're happy with the outcome, but it's different
I
at the time.
wasn't happy when I went to the doctor. They told me to abort him because I could get sick again. I said that's
so you got really sick.
With Michael, yes, very sick.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I wasn't going to abort him. We'll see what happens.
Right.
But I did tie my tubes after it. So,
tied and burned.
But then I regretted it because I had a great pregnancy and Angela was adorable. And then I liked kids again.
I can't stand children.
And I think I would have had another one after, but I already made that decision because this was risky. But I would have liked a girl, but I'm actually happy now that I see the little tramps walking around.
Stop.
Goes on.
That's a parenting thing. That's a parenting
I
thing.
had to go get a patch sewed onto Sean's shirt last week, remember? A girl comes in, she had to be 12. She's going to her prom, right? She's not I don't have daughters. And she's in there and
that's the traffic you got stuck in.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, that's freaking funny.
She puts her dress on and she tells the lady, she goes, can you take the rose off here and here and lift it? And she goes, shorter? Like she was in shock.
Like, where's your mother?
She was in
Need ID
shock.
for that?
I mean, the dress ended up being this big. It would have fit my finger. It was like a ring. It was like a ring. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be the one to tell her. You bend over, your whole ass is going to be out. But she did what she wanted.
Oh.
It was hard. I could never have a daughter.
Yeah, well, girls.
So I can see for you, Marietta, that there were obvious changes for your first one because you were very young. Like you were like a child having a child.
For all of our kids.
Yeah. I mean, but it's more, 15 is a little young.
15, but she was still young in her 20s.
Yeah.
I was at 30 when I had my first. You were how old?
Oh, I was 36 and 40. I was geriatric pregnancy, it said on my little card on the.
So I'm saying,
in the
I
hospital.
think 30 is a perfect age anyway.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering. So, how did the second one? Like, how did you feel about the second one compared to the first one when you were you were a baby yourself?
Well, I knew about the second one, so I was happy. They threw me a baby shower. I did everything like it was kind of the right way to go.
Right.
That I did it.
I did it right.
I did it right this time. Listen, my Tommy was right too, but I was wrong, but right. But with Sean, it was nice. It was nice to.
It was a different kind of feeling of being pregnant. You could acknowledge it publicly.
And I could acknowledge it. And
it wasn't scandalous.
No, and it wasn't shameful.
It felt good to be pregnant.
It felt good.
So
not for me.
Not for Michael, though. Michael
felt like absolute shit to be pregnant for me.
Yeah, the growing up and stuff is not.
I never did that.
I know you had.
I never did that.
Easy.
Just Michael, my legs got really like cankles.
So wait,
tree trunks on both legs.
Michael is the last one.
Michael's the baby.
Yeah, okay.
That just turned 18.
Right.
And is graduating high school. My little one, my last.
And going away to college.
And going away to college.
So how do you think you've changed like as a person, like from one to the other to the other? Were you more confident?
I don't change. That's one thing about me. I like to be exciting. I like to be funny. I'm not one of those. I mean, I'll be strict if I have to, but I'm not.
No, you're a short order cook. You're making waffles at 4:00 in the morning because they're hungry.
Hey, listen, Belgium. If my kids want it, they get it.
On the phone with her at 11 o'clock at night making cookies.
Michael,
what are you doing?
I'm making Michael cookies. He asks me so nice, Mom, are you going to bed soon? I know once he says that, I'm like, what do you want, Michael? Cookies, but I'll stay up and wait for them. I said, they take 10 minutes. I'll make your cookies. It's fucking Pillsbury. It's like, I'm not making them from scratch. Not anymore. Sean had me
in the pan.
No, I use the aluminum tins. I'm very easy. Sean has me making donuts, honey butter fried chicken. If you go on TikTok, you're
doing all the TikTok recipes.
You're such a pain in the ass.
I don't even know how to work TikTok.
I don't.
Dubai chocolate. He buys these big things. I'm like, Sean, go buy
that's very popular.
Hold on. But go buy a fucking chocolate bar. I'm sorry. He buys the rubber things and you have to melt the chocolate and put the I won't do it.
Yeah.
Pistachio, kanachi things. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
So for me, I was not that excited about getting married because of that. I thought that would make me I don't know. For some reason, I had it in my head, like a lot of people have the idea of midlife in their head as you just being like old. You're midlife, you're old. So I had the idea having a baby did that. It made me, it gave it.
I still don't think you're old.
I was giving away my freedom. I was giving away my.
You're young.
Well, I'm like a free spirit kind of. So I thought it was going to really take that away, and I couldn't see past it. So we just decided we weren't going to try. We just were not going to try, and it didn't happen like immediately, but it wasn't enough.
When you found out,
Drunk.
Oh, wow. DCS.
You know what? That night I had the most delicious martini I had ever had. Oh my God. It was the one that had like.
She remembers the martini that night.
Yeah.
I mean, I was drunk on my wedding floor, Michael. But I found out a couple of days later I never drank again.
Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't know I was pregnant. And it was like one of those places that like specialized in martinis. They put different colored sugar around the glass and you had to try all of them and everything. And I was on vacation.
The drink.
But I was feeling like, all the like symptoms of having my period for a while, but I wasn't getting my period. And it was like I kept waiting to get my period. Finally, I'm wasted at like 3:00 in the morning. I called my sister on the phone and she goes, go get a pregnancy test. She goes, maybe you're pregnant. I asked her, actually, this was earlier in the day. She said, go get a pregnancy test. Maybe I'm like, what? It never occurred to me. She's like, how did it never occur to you? You've not been taking birth control. You're married. Like, what the fuck, man? And so I took it. I took the test and it came out positive. I was like,
what a coincidence.
I was right. I was like, holy shit. So I woke my husband up. He's sleeping. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, wake up. He's like, what? Is it everything on fire? Like, I'm like, no, I'm pregnant. He goes, well, there's nothing we can do about it right now. So just go back to bed.
Oh, I would have stabbed him.
I can't.
But then I was like, wow. Well, that's my last martini for a while. But,
9 months.
But I don't know if this happened to you, but like, because you smoke, right? I don't know, you smoked for some, but when I found out I was pregnant, which by the way, I had planned this huge New Year's Eve party.
You had a party or something.
Oh, yeah. It was December, I found out. It was on Christmas break that I found out. And we had planned, like, we had spent thousands of dollars on catering and, like, entertainment and everything in a loft. And me and, like, 3 of my friends were throwing this huge New Year's Eve party. And I fucking couldn't drink. I was like, God damn it. And plus, then everyone had to know when you're, like, 1 day pregnant. And you have to tell everyone, like, why you're not drinking. Yeah. They have, like, drugs. And they're like, have some drugs. And I'm like, I can't.
So you found out, like, around December you were pregnant?
Yeah. And so I was not in denial. But I was like not really thinking of the baby so much. I had a lot of it was very uncomfortable. No, it wasn't that I wasn't thinking about the baby. I couldn't comprehend it. But I immediately had no craving for alcohol. I didn't smoke. I didn't do anything. I immediately stopped nitrates, like everything bad. I stopped drinking coffee. I stopped doing everything.
I stopped smoking too.
Yeah. The second one was the same way?
After the first one was hard. We had one of those babies that, we had one of those babies that cried all the time. We had all those babies that didn't sleep. She didn't have colic, but the kid just didn't stop crying. And like, she's very serious and wonderful, wonderful little girl. Oh my God. Well, now she's 20, but she was hard. She was like, we would read all the parenting books and we would walk around, there were the 5 S's, swaddle, sway, whatever they were.
Like prepared.
Oh, we did everything because the kid wouldn't stop crying. So, we would be up for hours reading. It was ridiculous. So my husband was like, okay, one and done. I'm like, no. And then in the meantime, I lost my father, and when that happened, she was 11 months old, my daughter. Like you're glad that your Tommy got to meet your mom. And I'm glad that my dad, got to meet Aliana. And when that happened, I needed my siblings so much at that time. My dad was my person, and I was so devastated that I don't know what I would have done without my siblings.
So you wanted your daughter to have a sibling?
Yes, I did. And I wanted her to have a daughter because my sister was like always there for me and everything. And so I was like, we have to have another one. And my husband's like, oh, don't be rushing to, I'm like, we're not rushing. It's been 4 years,
That is a long time.
So because he didn't want to have another one, to be honest with you.
Is he your age, your husband?
Yeah, he's a year younger than me. But he was like, that was a lot for him. He takes everything he does very seriously. So he took all his shifts seriously so I could sleep. He would stay up for days too, but he also went on business trips. So I would be home with this baby. I'd be home with a crying baby for like 5 days. And he'd be like, yeah, checking in from, Ozfest on the road. I'm here with, Steven Tyler, I don't know, whatever. And I'm just like, yeah. That was me. But I knew that this little girl needed a brother or a sister, So that's why I was determined, even though he was he was not into it. I really thought it was important.
She raped him.
Kind of. I think he was asleep. But, yeah. he woke up for a second.
OMG.
He was like, no.
But then I would, like a few months later or whatever, I don't know, however many weeks it takes for you to start feeling like shit again. I started feeling like shit again. And I was like, I still didn't think like being pregnant, much like being in midlife, the whole perimenopause thing, you don't associate all these symptoms with pregnancy. You associate with them as, I'm tired.
I remember it now.
Right. Well, no, but I was like, I'm tired. It never occurred to me that I was pregnant. And one of my friends said, why don't you take a pregnancy test? I'm like, ugh. So I took one and oh, wow.
Positive again.
Yeah. But then that one was really messed up because I went to the doctor and my doctor at the time, we had become friends because we met in the delivery room when she was delivering my daughter. And then she was getting her apartment redone. So she asked if she could stay in our house. So she stayed in our house for like a year and lived with us.
She can meet
Your doctor
yes
stood in your house.
Yes.
I got chest pain.
And she always wanted to go out. And I'm like, if I would have met you like a year ago, we could have gone out everywhere partying. But now I'm a mom. I met you on the day that I became a mom. So I cannot go out partying with you because I have a baby.
Wow.
So she lives with her.
Yeah. So she delivered but I went there and she was having her own fertility problems. And she was telling me, she said, your body thinks it's pregnant, but I don't see anything in the ultrasound. So it's probably like a false positive. So, you can do this DNC and everything. Cause I was really miserable, like puke all the time, like terrible. And I was like, okay. And then I was talking to one of my friends at the playground after preschool cause our kids went together. And she said, she knew the whole story. And she said, when you get to the hospital, just go down there. See if you can get like one more ultrasound. Just see if you can get it. Just real quick.
Second opinion.
Yeah. I said, okay. So we went there. My husband took the day off work. We all went there to the hospital. I said, you know what? I'm going to go get this ultrasound. I'll be right back. So I go down into the other part of the hospital. I'm in the thing. I lay down and I hear the nurse go, what's that? I'm like, oh, done. The whole thing is canceled. Procedure canceled. Everything canceled. I'm like, all done. And they're like, no, there's a baby. I'm like, there's something there. It was too early to, but I was like, there were cells there. There was a cluster of cells. I was like, done. So I go back up to the DNC waiting room and my daughter and my husband are there. And they're like, yeah, they called you 3 times and you weren't here. I go, cause it's canceled procedure. They're like, what do you mean the procedure's canceled? We have paperwork. I'm like, done. Nope. Not having it. Not having it at all. And that is my Jessie. My 16-year-old Jessie is that little baby who
that could have been a bad mistake.
Right. That could have been a bad mistake. And I feel every so often, more often than I'd like to admit, I feel horrible about that. Like it occurs to me, like I think of that.
Yeah, but you can't feel horrible about that. You didn't know. You're listening to your living doctor. I told you.
You still friends with her?
No, she actually unfriended me because I was like, I never went out.
Because
I didn't want to go out every night. She wanted to go to a party.
Her license revoked.
And send her a bill for the stay.
Your mind. So when I was pregnant with Michael, I think I was going in for my 5-month checkup, and it was Dr. Dios, and the old man was still there, and he was doing the the ultrasound. He was doing the sonogram or something, checking the baby's heart and everything. And he goes,
"Isn't that something when you hear it?"
Well, he didn't hear it because he's a moron. No. But no, I'm sorry. He sat there and literally was doing it and goes, "There's no heartbeat. I don't hear a heartbeat. I can't get it. I can't get it." So I start screaming like I was ready to beat him up. Like I was going crazy. And the nurse came in. It was actually a friend of mine's, Anne, that worked there. And she did it. And 1, 2, 3, she found the heartbeat. I'm like, you're a doctor.
Oh my
Are
God.
You kidding me? I almost had a heart. If I didn't lose that baby then, I should have, because I was stressed the F out.
Isn't that the worst? It's like when you really read about the odds of it, you even becoming pregnant, their odds are really against you because there's a lot that has to be
not me.
Completely synced up to get pregnant. But then like stupid shit like that. And I had asked her before the DNC, I said, let's say there is a baby in there and I just don't know it and I have this DNC. Will I ever know if it was a baby? And they said, no, you'll never know.
Oh.
And then like I said, I wanted a sister for my daughter. And so then I told them not to tell me what it was, but at one of the appointments, she goes, something like, she's scanning and she goes, oh, let's skip that part. And I'm like, I knew immediately that it was a boy.
Right.
And so I went into a deep depression for like 2 days. I wouldn't come out of my room. I was so upset that I was having a boy and I wasn't going to give my daughter the sister. No, believe me, I'm telling you.
Well, I guess neither of you never had a miscarriage.
No.
Right. So that's I have. So it's when you don't hear the heartbeat, that's a devastating thing.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. Before Michael, I had one.
So do you want to talk about that at all?
No, I mean, there's nothing to talk about. It wasn't a viable pregnancy. They tried whatever they could, progesterone, to spot, pretty much it was gone. I refused to have a DNC. So I let out or whatever until I had no choice than to have it.
Mm-hmm.
So
you have to make sure
I
that
saw the sac. I saw it come out, stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't meant to be.
Right.
I mean, I didn't want, so Michael was not planned for that reason. I gave up on, I didn't want to be bothered with it again. And then it happened. So apparently like those progesterone and everything that they gave me pumped me up more. So
it does.
I got pregnant like immediately.
Usually that's what they say when they clean
twice.
it out.
I was technically pregnant very quickly.
Yeah.
Twice.
They say when they clean it out or they didn't put you in the hormones, you get pregnant
She had
better.
told me that if I didn't have the DNC, then it was going to create a lot of problems for me. And because I was bleeding very heavily because it wouldn't all come out.
Right.
It was
you
like
can't have a lot of
days,
problems.
I said, all right.
Yeah, you can have a lot of problems that way.
But I was miserable.
You really could have had a lot of problems.
Because I was in denial. I kind of thought that, because even when I went, and they
was
said,
it late into the
No, I was in first trimester, whatever it was.
Had you told anyone?
They basically said that, from what I remember, that it was never viable.
Right.
It was just I was pregnant, and then they never had a heartbeat.
Right.
But
sometimes
when they didn't
cells collect,
the first time,
but then they
told
don't
me
work.
to come back because they weren't sure, and then it went.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, look, it happened for a reason.
Did you tell your mom? And
I told everybody. I told the people that already knew I was pregnant.
That's what I mean. Had everyone
it was
know?
that far
because you're supposed to tell people, not supposed to tell people you're pregnant or whatever.
Yeah, that's what they believe. That's why with the second one, I was a little more.
Not gonna say anything.
Not gonna say. I don't think we told really many people, other than my mom, of course, because she's the only one that's gonna advise me what to do. But it was a scary thing.
So I always wanted to know what's the right thing to say to a woman who's had a miscarriage.
There's no right words.
There's no right words.
Do you say I'm sorry,
especially
or do you
if you want
nothing?
the kid? Some people, I always say that, and I don't want to go into they've different things, but
right.
People get pregnant and get rid of the kids like it's birth control, and I don't believe in that. And the people that really want them can't have them, and
then there's some people that really want them and then do have them, and they have like a million of them.
So there's to me, it's a touchy thing for everyone.
But I was in a situation. What I'm meaning is, I was in a situation recently where the woman was pregnant, and then she came back. And then she wasn't pregnant anymore, and I didn't know what to say. She was like, "Oh, it didn't."
You felt when you were having a baby. I'm having a baby, and you're happy about it, and you're gonna have a baby, and you wanted that baby, and because we all had babies that we wanted,
right? But I didn't know what to say to this woman when she's like, "I'm not pregnant anymore."
She lost a baby.
I know, but as a. What I'm saying is, as a friend.
What do you say when somebody lost their kid?
That's what I'm asking you.
Same thing.
Nothing. I don't know what to say.
You don't
say I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Not I'm sorry for you.
Because I really didn't know what to say. I really didn't know what to say.
Still a person. Some people, especially if you have somebody that you know, which everybody I'm sure does, that can't have kids, that tried and tried and tried and miscarriage after miscarriage, can't get pregnant then anymore, tried all the fertility drugs. What do you say?
Keep trying.
You keep trying. You hope the best.
Yeah, I don't know anybody like that. I know people who they tried so fucking hard that they all had everyone I know who did that all had twins and triplets and shit like that because they just kept trying and kept trying.
I would have loved to have twins.
You say that now,
right? That's not what I
should have done. I don't think you said that years ago.
I am so done. I don't even want to look at it. I don't even want to look at a child.
I'll be honest with you. 7 years apart's perfect. 18 months, 2 years, that's too close.
Mine were 22 months apart. So right now, Michael's birthday is May 10th. Sean's is July 13th. So Michael just turned 18. Sean's still 19.
Yeah.
So Sean will be 20 in July. So they're still
you did everything all fucked up.
My whole life was fucked up.
I dated this guy and him and his brother were 10 months apart.
That's like
like
the turtle.
22 They're close in age. You still got one learning to walk, the other one, got to carry around. It's still a little difficult.
And I was very busy. Like Tommy was into every sport.
Oh, but you had one to watch them. Help.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, Tommy was busy. He was playing basketball.
So that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, what is the difference between when your second one comes along? Because you're the first one for me.
How many years difference?
11.
When the second one, you're already a mom having a baby. The first one, you're not a mom. You're not a mom until you have that baby, and then you become a parent.
I just followed whatever my sister did.
Well, you were lucky to have that.
Very lucky.
And my nephew Bobby was 9 months older than Tommy, so I got all his clothes until Tommy got a little older and was very tall, and now I was giving them my clothes because Tommy was
thinking Amanda must be really thinking this is oh my God, I'm not.
It's one of those things that I think, there's a few subjects that you really can't explain to someone. Like you can't capture the love that you have in your heart for your own child because you don't. It's something, at least for me, I had never felt it before. And I loved deeply. I'm a very emotional person. I love deeply my parents. I love deeply my siblings. I love deeply my friends. But the love that I have for my children is off the map. I mean, and
my boys.
I had no idea that was even inside of me. You know what I mean? I was I changed. And at first, I have to admit, it was hard for me to change because I still wanted to be that carefree.
I hear you breathing.
You hear me breathing?
Everyone's breathing. We're alive.
A little congested. I have a little congestion.
Like, is she snorking?
Oh, my God. Now it's time for the segment we like to call, what was it called again?
You made it up.
I know, but I forgot. Reality check.
What's on your mind?
No, it's what you're thinking.
Why do I always have to go first?
I'm thinking I miss my Tommy. You're making me miss him. I miss my boys too. I love my Sean and Michael, but I miss my Tommy.
Yeah.
So I went first. What are you thinking, Chris? Nothing, huh? You ain't got nothing?
No, you shut me up on missing Tommy, so it doesn't matter. There's nothing for me to think now.
He was really cute. What are you thinking now?
I'm thinking that my daughter's in Florida and she's going to Buc-ee's on Sunday. So what should I get from Buc-ee's?
Shorts.
I love Buc-ee's. Such a great smell.
Do you know the closest Buc-ee's to New York
is Texas?
Texas. What is that all about? God.
Do they have a casino?
Of course they do.
One of them does.
I bet you. Let's do a map to how many we can hit.
I bet that's been done before. I bet you can go on YouTube and there's like big Buc-ee's people have been.
Van, so
we'll do the podcast on the road.
Bucky to Bucky.
Podcast on the road.
Let's see, Buc-ee's, will you sponsor us?
I would have pulled pork.
No, but they like to do like Buc-ee's. They opened one because, of course, the reason I know about Buc-ee's is because when my son and I went to go visit my mom on her 80th birthday, there's one in between Jacksonville and St. Augustine. And so we're driving and I see this, I go, what is this hedgehog on the billboard? And Jesse's like, that's not a hedgehog. It's a beaver. I go, oh, he goes, it's Buc-ee. So of course he Googles it. He tells me, by the time we get to the exit, he tells me the entire story of everything, like the guy that opened it, like the whole history of Buc-ee's. I know everything about it. So of course we have to stop there. And it was like,
Buc-ee's.
It's Buc-ee's.
I heard about Buc-ee's because I watched TikTok. And there's this family. I think she's a family of 11
they
now.
live in Buc-ee's.
And they love it. They have this big van. What the hell, mister? I love what she says. She goes, I go in there and I leave him with his children. And I love it. Like, it's really so funny to watch this. What's going on? And that's when I heard about Buc-ee's. They went in there. They had to get something. They got barbecue sandwiches. They used the restroom. They thought it was the cleanest restroom they ever used.
Yeah, let me tell you, here is what I learned from many things that I learned from my son about Buc-ee's. But what they did was this guy, so his grandparents, he used to go to his grandparents' house in the summer, the guy who started Buc-ee's. They lived in Alabama and they had a little convenience store. And so he decided when he got older, he's going to open his own convenience store. So he would ask people, he polled people, what are the two best things you want in a convenience store, like a gas station? And they said, cheap ice and clean bathrooms. So every Buc-ee's you will ever go to will have the cheapest ice and the cleanest bathrooms.
And no trucks.
Yeah, and there's no trucks allowed. But there's 100 pumps. It's not a truck stop.
Yeah, it's not a truck stop.
This is not a truck stop. It's Buc-ee's.
So if,
There's like
if a
100
truck wants
pumps.
to go in there and get food, they're not allowed.
There's nowhere to park for the
There's
truck.
nowhere to park, but there's no gas for them.
There's no gas. They don't sell diesel or whatever. It's just Buc-ee's.
But the smell was so amazing when I walked in that we had just eaten, so I couldn't eat. But the peanuts, the roasted peanuts, and
I love roasted.
just
Oh no,
just
they're
the
called
smell,
beaver nuggets.
beaver nuggets.
They're not
The smell when you walk in is just phenomenal. Then I went to the bathroom. It's like having a bedroom door that closes. It's
I know.
really like a nice.
I have to ask, what is a beaver nugget?
I know. I said the
They
same
call it-
thing.
Bucky's a beaver.
No, it's like a.
But what?
No, I thought the same thing, Marietta. It's like
It's
a
a
corn
peanut.
pop. No, it's like a sweet thing. It's covered in like sticky caramel and like.
Well, that's a nut.
No,
Then why'd you cut off my nuts?
it's puffed. It's puffed corn. It's
Why'd you cut
It's
off my nuts?
puffed. It's puffed corn.
I didn't mean to say that. Because I was talking about peanut smell. And she goes, beaver nuggets.
Oh, so I did cut off your nuts.
They killed the beaver. I
So
made
she
it
cut
into
off my
nuggets.
nuts.
No,
Anyway, they
no,
have
no.
roasted peanuts.
I love roasted peanuts.
Okay.
They have a lot of things there.
You get them good in Sunset Park, Brooklyn.
She walked in with her family when she walked in with her family, they walked in and they sell like fire pits like Walmart in the
I was
front.
going to put it on the car.
She's like, let's get a fire
It
pit.
was totally unplanned because I drove home from Disney because I refused to get back on the plane. Just one of my things. So I had this big, huge, like, what kind of rental did I get? I went to drive 45 minutes to get a better rental.
Like one of those
A
trucks.
Wagoneer. I wanted the nicest.
Isn't that what the
Thank God I did,
Griswolds
though,
went
because
to
we had
Wally
too much
World in?
stuff to bring home from Disney. So we stopped, and she had told me about it. And I even got her son another sweater in a different size because he was growing out of the sweater. So, I mean, it
You
was
drove home from Disney.
Yeah.
How'd you get there?
Plane.
Delta.
And you didn't want to come home on the plane?
I just didn't feel it.
Okay.
I felt like we were going to go down.
Do you know her?
I guess not.
I said, Dan, trade in the tickets. We're driving home. And he just looked at me and was like, okay. I saved it. We had a nice little trip. We extended the vacation for a day or so.
Well, it took you 24 hours
You
to get
can't go
home.
to
No, we
Buc-ee's
did-
if
we
you're in
did
the
well.
air.
We did well, though, driving home. We did. We drove, but we only stopped once, like overnight.
Oh, I was going to say.
Well, if I was tired and I couldn't deal with him driving that night anymore. Like, you know, when I think he's going to fall asleep. So I'm
I
like,
can't
yeah.
even drive to Pennsylvania. I'm so nervous. I have a trip coming up on June 29th. And I get
There was
nervous.
such a room. Get a Wagoneer.
No,
we'll
to drive my truck.
No, we'll rent that to go to Texas.
When we do that, yes. But to go to Pennsylvania, to take my son, I'm taking my Infinity.
You're going to have to.
So how do you think you've changed?
You're going to be driving back and forth often. Get used to the trip.
How do you think you've changed as a parent? And I'm wondering, when I'm listening to you guys talk about a road trip, maybe midlife is the time when you
Yeah, because
get.
we've been talking about it for 3 years. It's
But
been-
I'm thinking,
Louise!
maybe this is the time when your kids get to be a certain age and you get back to being who you were before again. But
I
you're
still
never
have a
gonna.
young one.
You're never going to be the same because you went through. You're forever changed, and yeah, you still have
I still have an 8-year-old.
third grade, right?
I'd put a gun to my head.
Oh my God.
I'm just, listen, I love my
You're done
children.
now. You're done.
I'm done. I'm tired.
Wait till the grandchildren.
Yeah, that's what I want. If I want them to make me a grandmother before I'm dead.
See, I
You
don't.
didn't have to go that deep, but I mean, like, I want to watch my grandchildren.
I don't even know about. No, I was doing an open house, and one of my sellers has a grandchild that lived with them until their house was renovated. This kid, I loved him. I would watch another kid like that. He was so good. He was like 9 months old. I really do love that kid. I gotta go say hello to him. And now her sister is pregnant, and I sold her house, so I'm gonna go visit her. I gotta see.
Kind of like when the producer of the show sent a picture when we were mad the other day.
Oh
This
yeah.
child, and now we all want one.
Yeah, oh, yeah, no, that kid was cute. That kid was cute.
And I never thought I was
She was
not.
cute.
I was like,
Petunia?
I want one.
Petunia.
No, not Petunia.
Penelope.
No. Oh God.
Toodaloo.
Tallulah.
Toodles.
Tallulah. And you know, it was funny because I go, because those are all the hipster names in Brooklyn, they all name their kids all these retro.
I have never heard of anybody in Brooklyn named Tallulah.
Oh, then that's because you haven't been in the right parts of Brooklyn. If you go to Williamsburg,
Michael.
no, because you stay here.
Tommy.
No.
You know,
I went to a play group up in like Williamsburg, Park Slope.
Shawn Michael.
It was either that or Jamal, so I went with Shawn Michaels. So my husband was a very big wrestling fan. So we named him Shawn. So Shawn.
Oh, Shawn Michaels.
So
Yeah.
yes. So Shawn is very funny because Shawn is Shawn William, right? But nobody ever told me my father-in-law's name was actually Willie. Willie. His real legal name was Willie. Okay? So nobody told me. So I'm naming him Shawn William. And one day my sister-in-law calls me and she goes, it's very nice that you named him after Papa, but you know, Papa's name is Willie. And I said, no, I didn't. Your brother should have fucking told me. So now my son's name is Shawn William Green. You're lucky you got the last name. And Michael, when he came out, we just, again, it could have went a totally different way.
Right.
So Michael, Shawn, Michaels. We got
I have
two
a
of
Michael
them.
too.
There you go. We're done.
Well, like in the Hipsterville, when I went to this play group, there were like 3 Mabels, 2 Gladyses. They all do all the retro 40s names, you know, and it was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, oh, there's another Gladys in the group. It's like, yeah, and her dad is like over there playing guitar, drinking a latte.
But also, I don't want to cut you off, Elle, but also I just want to say that Michael has Tommy's middle name. So it's Michael Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why I did that, but I think because I don't remember who did make his godfather, my brother-in-law, but I felt bad for Tommy because he was old enough to be Michael's. He was 16 or 15 and he was old enough. So I just gave him his middle name.
So both of you guys have kids that are, you know, pretty much past the teens almost, except for Jesse, a little younger. But
He's 1 year older than your son.
no, but you have a 20-year-old and you have a 19-year-old and an 18-year-old. Do you see, is it harder now that they're older? Like worrying about them driving and stuff, like just different things?
I get citizens alerts and I'm like, oh my God, there's a car accident. A pole's down on Laredo Avenue where I live and I'm calling. Shawn Michael's not answering me.
Give the address?
37 Laredo Avenue, Staten Island, New York, 10312. But it's like, I honestly can tell you my heart drops and I know they're okay. Like I knew Shawn was on the beach today. So I knew it wasn't him, but I felt guilty just calling Michael and not calling Shawn. So I called them both and neither one of them answered me because that's what they fucking do. I had to call my sister.
Don't kids search them?
No, because I started the process of the Life 360 thing and then I never did it on their phones. I know, I have to.
But isn't that...
phones?
Yeah.
But do you remember when they were...
They'll have no problem doing that for me, but I just forget to do it. You know, I get home, it's 9 o'clock at night normally when I get home. Tonight, it's going to be 11 o'clock at night.
But do you remember how crazy you were when your kids... I mean, I don't know if either of you had this problem. You did. I did. They don't eat. Like for days, they don't eat. Some kids eat. Some kids are voracious, awesome eaters. Then there's like my daughter
Then
who
there's
just
Angelo and
eats air. Like
right.
they eat air. I'm like, you're gonna. And I would tell the pediatrician would be like, just give her milkshakes. You know, give her anything that she'll eat. Like whatever, doesn't matter. And I was just like obsessed with getting this child to eat anything. You know. And I look back and I feel how
and now
crazy,
they don't stop eating.
Right. I feel how crazy that was. You know, and yeah, I was really concerned. So was I more concerned about her eating because I was crazy or about like now her taking the train to school by herself all the way to, you know, Rockefeller Center.
I do not let my children.
Columbus Circle. She goes to Columbus Circle. She goes to college. She goes around. She goes to rock concerts with her friends. She goes out. They get something to eat. They come back. You know what I mean? Like
She's 20.
right. She's 20, but she's still
nervous,
she's
still-
my she's my baby. She's my child. You know, you're always going to worry about your children. Am I as crazy as I was when she wouldn't eat, or am I crazier now that she's on her own without
I would
me?
be following her. So.
I mean, you can't.
I mean, my kids, Shawn used to love little chicken nuggets and French fries, but Michael was a good eater. Shawn was a good eater. Tommy
What
was a
did
good
you
eater.
worry about when they were little? You worried about like God
I worried
forbid-
about them falling. I worried about them not having friends. I'm a very crazy person. I had a lot of friends growing up. My whole life. My friends are my lifeline. And now I don't have many friends. But back then I had a lot of friends. It's depressing.
No, it's just because you realize what friendship really means.
The real ones stay around.
Exactly.
exactly.
But I was always worried, like, what do we do? I joined the PTA so my kids can have friends. You know, like I'm crazy. I'm nuts. But I never worried.
Those parents.
I am. I always wanted them to have a lot of friends.
But now I look back at those things and I see all the lessons that I taught. I always did my best to teach them the right lessons at that time, you know, the real lessons, not like the dumbed down version of it. And now it's like, it's more concerning to me because I don't know. I have absolutely no control over it.
You have no control.
So I hope that I did my best to explain things to them, and I still make myself completely available for them to talk to about anything. And like, I cherish the time that I drive them to the train or I drive them to school, because usually the only times that we have when we're alone is something like that, you know, otherwise they're doing their own thing. And I try to tell them things. I remember being young and being,
that's what I'm saying. Don't you remember being that age?
Yeah.
And what were you doing at 20?
I
know what I was doing.
Yeah, me too. But you know what? Part of the reason I was doing it was because I was very insecure. I was very insecure with myself, and so I was going out partying and all that stuff.
Does it make you worry more?
I don't know, because they're not doing it. If they're doing it, they're doing a really good job of keeping it from me.
I'm gonna do something. Yeah. And I normally wasn't gonna do this, but I had a son, my Tommy, that had an addiction problem, and only because he was hurt. He was in a fight and he had 5 brain hematomas. His jaw wired shut from ear to ear. He started messing with drugs and everything. So I do feel bad for my boys, because I look at them every time they come in. I literally do a staring. I check under their mattresses. I check their bags when they're sleeping or when they're not home. So I am, but they know enough.
Right.
Where Michael will tell me, Ma, I saw what you went through. I saw what my brother went through. You think I would ever do that? I would never do that. But you never know. One friend. So now I try to see all their friends. I get to know their parents. Michael's friends are amazing. There's one that I'm not a fan of. Because I know they have a lot of parties there and they drink, you know.
Which is expected.
Which, again, he's 18. I was drinking at 14. So, I mean, I can't.
We were fucking doing a lot.
We were doing a lot at 14. I was bad. But I'm just saying, like, the moral of my story is what I went through with Tommy, I stare at them. And Sean will look at me and go, Ma, what are you looking at? I'm like, why do your eyes look red? And he was like, I just woke up. I'm like, all right. I'm like, all right. So like, he'll go take a shower and I'll go run in his room and I'll search his dress. Oh God. I'm crazy. I found a pot pen once. I found a vape once and I threw him out of my house, packed his bags and threw him out. Kid was walking the streets for hours. I let him back in. He had to learn a lesson. You're not doing that. You're not doing that to me. I had one. I'm not repeating. We're not doing, repeat. It's not going to happen. I can't, I don't have, at my age, I can't deal with that. They're both driving. They've been driving since freaking, as soon as driver's ed came out, Sean was a pain in my ass. I got to do the lessons. I need a car. I bought him a car. I thought the car was, I wish my father gave me his Saturn.
I
loved my Saturn. Oh,
please.
God.
Please, I don't want the Saturn, but I bought him like a beautiful truck because my kids are tall, Sean was a very big boy up until he lost 100 pounds.
They have to fit in the vehicle.
And I didn't want to get him a sports car or anything because I always learned that they're very dangerous. They go a little faster. You go under a car, you're dead. You're dead. So I figured you get him a truck. So I bought Michael a Jeep and I bought Sean a Lincoln MKC. Now Sean's Lincoln is freaking amazing. It's a nice truck. Everything is like you have the buttons to drive. Like it's a 2016 Catholic school old lady teacher had this car. She put 12,000 miles on it. Are you kidding me? Like, come on. I want safety more than anything. You want the cars. So he used to say to me, it's a mom car. It's a mom car. And I'm like, driving a Lexus, baby. You got a Lincoln. No, it's not a mom, but it's a car.
It's a free car.
It's a car. Now, Sean got a couple of tickets. He's lucky I didn't take the mom car away. Speeding.
Oh.
Come on. I know, Kristy. I see you pull off here. I see you pull off. But there are so many things to worry about because when I was growing up, if we smoked we all know we smoke pot. And we smoked pot when
Ooh.
shut up. When we were growing up, right? It was I don't sometimes, but I don't. But
Thank
not
God.
with me ever.
no, but it was different when we were growing up than what it is now. You have to be more afraid now of what what they're putting in.
Well,
I agree.
You have to.
It's not
agree.
worrying about so much them trying something now. You know, you can get pot legally anyway, and which is a lot safer
Yep,
because we don't know what they're putting in. On the
exactly.
street. And not that it didn't happen when we were younger too, because it did.
Yeah, but not
It's
that
just
I
more
knew of.
common now.
Now,
And because of your past experience, I can
and because
understand
these
it
drug
completely.
dealers are trying to hook these children.
They always have
And
been.
they're
That's what
putting
drug
stuff
dealers
in
So I
there.
don't know when it comes to that stuff, if the right thing is to do to get it for your child, to try it. No, here's the thing. I'd rather them get it from me, from a dispensary or something, than get it from the wrong place.
I've heard both sides of this argument before.
Yeah.
I'd rather
I
them
know
not
people
do
who used to
anything.
get high with their parents
I-
when they were in high school because
No,
the parents
I don't
would
want to
rather
get high
have.
with my kid, but I would want him to come to me first.
And I would tell him, I'll cut your fucking fingers off.
I would try that, but if he's going to do it anyway, then let me make it safe.
That's kind of how I feel too.
To me,
But you
there's
know
no
what?
reason.
We've all went to this part. How many parents put the drink right in front of you, and that's like not a problem? So what's the difference with marijuana? There's no difference.
I just
There's
feel
no
they can lace it. I
Because
feel like
my parents
things.
allowed me to drink underage.
Oh, my kids drink underage too.
Well, I didn't get to that point yet. I don't know if that's going to happen. But yes, have I let them taste it? Not Angelo, but Michael, yes. Like a little sip. But my father let me try his beer. You understand? But we would put the drink in front of Eliana is not 21 yet.
No.
But
The difference
So
is
you'll
some
have a
kids
drink.
will
My
try to
point is,
do it
what's
and
the
some
difference?
kids don't.
I'm not saying you're gonna give your kid heroin or something. I'm just saying
I
you're
think
gonna
if
give
you-
him.
We don't like that word.
I think if you make it too,
Well, that's the worst of the worst.
I think that if you make it too polarizing, they're going to have to try it because you arouse their curiosity in them. And these kids, let's face it, these kids have half of your genetics and you know what you were doing at their age. So if they're going to be a little bit,
Yeah, but I got to tell you, I'm sorry to cut you off again, but Tommy saved me. I stopped. Whatever I was doing, I stopped.
right.
So when I had my son,
because you knew, look, you had to raise that kid.
yep.
That kid.
But they don't have kids. So they can go as crazy as you would have gone.
But I'm going to tell you something. My friend, who was my best friend at the time, died of an overdose at 40. I think a couple of years ago. She left her son behind. She was never like that. I mean, we talk about her all the time. I mean, she came into my house and she was one that always had very bad relationships. And her boyfriends all made her a drug addict. And she lost her battle. But she walked into my house one day to watch my son. And her and her boyfriend decided to rummage through my house. It was my mother just passed away. And she stole the ring. My mother gave my father an S ring and diamonds for their anniversary. Their 25-year anniversary, and she stole it, her and her boyfriend, when they were watching my Tommy in my house.
Nice friend.
Yep, and I never spoke to her again. She came to my father's funeral. I almost threw her a beating, and that was it. And she died. She died of an overdose because she couldn't. It went from pot.
So always,
That's how it happens. That's how it happens.
But like again, I understand in your situation how you feel. But I don't think that if we don't talk to them about it, we don't know how it's going to turn out. We can't be with our kids 24 hours a day. When they get older, you just can't do it. It is not our fault. It's not your fault. It's just maybe there's a better way for us
Oh,
to handle
absolutely.
it now that we have the more stories and the way we hear around, I just feel being a little more open might work. And you were very close with Tommy.
Yeah.
You did everything with him. But sometimes it just gets to that point.
You can only do as much as you can do. I mean, I'm trying to be open with them just because they're going to hear it from someone. So in my opinion, I'd rather have them
Tell
hear
them
it
the
from me.
truth.
Because I'll tell them the truth, and then they could correct their dumbass friends who are telling them whatever stupid story.
Oh, no, I mean, do you want to be stupid? Do you
Right.
want something to happen to
Right.
you? Do you want to die?
Right.
Like, you could say all those things, but we all make mistakes.
We all do. That's part of
tomorrow
growing
I
up.
can go out and somebody could slip it in my drink.
Yeah, that's.
Although I'm too old for something like that to happen, but whatever.
But I tell them, if you take a drink and you put it down,
that's it.
I tell them the same thing my mother taught me.
Right, absolutely.
You take
we
a drink,
all
you put
learn
it
those
down.
things. But
See, I never
unfortunately,
learned
we just
stuff like
can't
that.
control everything. So there's the answer to what, your kids, what did you say? Bigger kids, bigger
Little
problems?
kids, little problems. Someone told me that when Eliana was little and not eating. Little kids, little problems. Big
You don't know what it's going to be, but it happens to people our age also.
Mm-hmm.
It happens to,
What I think is
getting
important.
pain medication turns into a lot worse.
Yeah.
It's
I think you have to have an open communication as much as possible. But what I did early on, because very early on, my kids were little and I was driving down the street and they weren't in the car or anything, but I saw the guy in front of me, and I live on one of those streets that people just cross randomly. Like, they don't wait for the light. It's not that busy all the time. And kids are constantly strolling across the street. So this group of kids ran across the street, and the last kid hesitated and didn't make it and got hit by the car in front of me, went flying through the air, landed right. So I saw this, and I said, when I got home, it was horrifying, and the man felt terrible. I was, everything about it was wrong. So I told them, listen, we all know that you wait for the light. We all also know that you're not every time going to wait for the light. So if you find yourself following your dumbass friends, or for some reason in the middle of the street when you're not supposed to be in the middle of the street, run your fucking ass off, because it's not always going to be perfect. You have to have a plan B. I have to try to tell them what to do when they end up in the situation that they're not supposed to be in, because they're going to end up in that situation.
Kind of like when me and you were with our boys, and we were behind them and they were walking, and we go, oh, we're in trouble. They have no fucking idea what's going on around them. We're like, we're like, oh my God, this was like probably like 5-6 years ago. And we're looking at them and we're like,
because it's when you're deciding whether or not they can cross the big streets by themselves.
We're gonna really have to teach them a little. They don't know that this person almost hit into them. This person is just walking in the street. They have no idea who's next to them.
They don't know how to look.
No,
It's like
right.
take
So when
headphones
when
off.
I
Thank
grew
God
up,
they're very good boys now. Like, they know what they're doing.
No, but I try to teach them. Like, it was the hardest lesson for me to teach when my son started going to the internship in the city, and I had to tell him, I trained him from little, like, hold the door. He one time didn't hold the door in the post office. So I made him hold the door for the next 10 minutes straight for every single person that came out of the post office, because
That's
I'm
a
like,
little
you're not
crazy.
going to be, you're not going to be one of those rude motherfuckers that I want to be someone, I want to raise kids that I would want to be in line with at a store, because they're going to be in line with someone at a store.
yeah,
I want them to have
my
common
kids would
decency.
always hold the door.
So, but then I had to tell him, you can't always help people. You're going to be in the subway station. They're going to be like, come here. There's a cat in the, and you have to
It's a rat.
yeah, no, well, but you know what I mean? People are going to try to trick you. They're going to try to trick you and
That's
take
not
advantage
a
of you.
cat.
And so you don't want them to be naive. And it's like, it's almost, I felt like I was telling my kids not to help people, but not to go out of the way and help people. But I had to end up telling him, and tears are rolling down my face as I'm telling him, the people that love you in the world, you can count on your fingers, and those are the people that are going to be there for you and do everything for you. These other people, they may seem nice, but you don't know them. And I'm not saying that they're not good people. I'm not saying anything about them. I'm saying that you come first. And if you have a bad feeling, go with it. Always go with the bad feeling that you have. Don't say, oh, the person's, I just got a weird, whatever. Just, I try to prepare them for things that are going to go wrong, because it's easy to prepare them for things that are going to go right.
So both my kids go with their friends sometimes to the city, and they'll take the ferry. Sometimes they'll take the train when they're there, because you got to go from place to place and you want to see things. And I'm like, all right, listen, when you get to the train, don't go near the platforms. Stay in the middle. Stay in the center. If you have to put your arms around the big boulders, put your arms around them and hold them, because ever since COVID, they're fucking crazy out there.
People are crazy.
Who's hitting somebody in the head with a hammer as they're sleeping on the train?
Right.
Come on.
Someone lit someone on fire.
Yeah.
We can't live our life in fear.
Right. You can't live your life in fear, but you have to teach them to be cautious.
Stay on Staten Island. Stay on Staten Island.
And stay away from Staten Island, because you always
stay in Staten Island.
Oh God, bougie ass thinking Staten Island some kind of shit.
But I know they're not going to get hit on the head with a hammer.
You don't know that.
Whoa.
You don't know that.
Everybody from Dyker Heights moved to Staten Island. Then went to Jersey.
And they were hammered.
So everything's corrupt.
Well, I'm still in Staten Island. I came from Bensonhurst.
Well, I think it doesn't really matter. But
If you're going to get hit again,
listen.
what about the lady that got lit on fire? I mean, really?
No, but I'm just saying, just pay attention.
be aware.
To your surroundings.
Yes.
I was kidding about the Staten Island and the Brook.
No,
Just
but be aware.
When you're on a train, be aware.
That's
aware
exactly
of your
what
surroundings.
it is.
Because
Wherever you are, be aware. When you're driving, that's
we
why
gotta teach our kids to be alert.
I mean, so I'm going to be honest. I'm nervous with me driving now because the other day.
I'm nervous with you driving. You're on the phone all the fucking time.
Fuck off. Wait, the other day I'm driving and I remember my friend Nicole always telling me, she has a Nissan. I have a Infinity and they're the same kind of cars. She goes, so I practice if there's a car in front of you, your car's going to beep, but it will automatically stop, right? So the other day I'm driving home from this and it was very late at night. And I'm driving and I can't help myself. I look out the windows. I see what this guy's doing. I see what that guy's doing. And I'm driving. I see the red light. I think the car is further away than what it is. And I'm very close to this car. And I hear, beep, 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 beep. My car wasn't stopping. I had to go to the right. And thank God there was nobody on my right. My car was going right into the car in front of me. The car stopped for no reason. Why are they doing
Was
that?
this in Brooklyn?
No, it was in Staten Island.
No, but that's what I mean.
I was on Richmond Avenue.
Car next to
And you know what? As much as that sucks when it happens to you, for it to happen to one of your kids, it's devastating. So you have to teach them. This is what happens if this happens and you forget to stop.
If they drive anything like you, Elle.
I can drive, I just can't park.
We were outside before. I go, well, when'd you get that dent in the car? She's like,
It's
I
a
have a scratch.
Who cares? Really?
Oh, I would
was
be
pulling into my driveway.
Sometimes her ass is out like that.
Wait, you pulled into your driveway and you scratched your car?
She hits the garbage can every day.
Probably, yeah.
It's there.
So, in fact, my neighbor, what an asshole. My neighbor.
Wow, I hope your neighbor's not listening to this. Sorry, neighbor.
I'm sure he's not. But he moved anyway, so who cares? But he's across the street, right? And he was one of those people that was taking up 2 spots with his one car so that nobody would park anywhere near here.
I hate those people.
Right. So I left a note on his windshield, because I had to drive around looking for parking or whatever. And I left it on his windshield going, there are two cars could fit in this spot. And we've been doing it just fine for 13 years before you moved in. So maybe you could move over a little bit. He comes up to me and he goes, I've seen the way you pull into your driveway. What makes you think I would take lessons on parking from you? I'm like, fuck you, you stupid fuck.
And she said that the nicest possible way.
I mean that in the most.
She was like, fuck.
Wow.
No, but really, you're watching me pull into my driveway? Anyway. No, but I think it's important to you start those open relationships with your kids when they're little, and it's not always easy and it's not always fun. And there's a lot of stuff, with school and everything. And the hardest thing is to try to help them handle their own emotions. I think, because you can only do so much for them with their emotions, and they're going through all these changes. 13 teenagers sucks. Then they have to be an adult and there's all this responsibility they didn't know about. I remember first time I gave Jesse money and I said, here, in the store, here's $5. So he found something for $5 and he went up to the thing and she's like, it's $5.31. He goes, no, it's $5. She goes, no, it's $5.31. He goes, what is this 31 cents? She goes, I'm like, it's taxed. So you have to pay. He's like, that's a bunch of crap. I have $5. This is $5. He did not understand why. But, you have to teach them how to live in the world that you live in.
You gotta raise them.
What?
You have to raise your kids.
Yeah, you have to keep their best interests in mind, and you have to just make sure that they know that, and that they can come to you if things don't work out as much as to the best.
Yeah,
at least that's what I think. But I'm interested to hear if you guys have stories about your own kids or anything crazy that happened. Please, we love
stories.
Yeah, we have a website
or something like that.
Yeah.
So please join the family at midlifemafia.com and follow us on all socials. I'm Marietta.
I'm Kristy.
I'm Elle.
Welcome to the family.